Hey guys, this video is on the correlation coefficient. So I just wanted to rewrite what we talked about in class as to what the correlation coefficient is. It is the strength of the linear relationship between two quantitative variables. Okay. The four words you want to pay attention to: linear, strength, two, and quantitative. Calculate it as the sum of x minus x bar, y minus y bar, over n minus 1. Then this part's called the covariance over sx, sy. And as you noticed, this term is the z-score, and this term is the z-score. So I can rewrite it as cx, cy over n minus 1. Okay. So the correlation ranges from -1 to +1 included. 0 in the middle, again, means no linear relationship. And we kind of have these anchors at 0.4 and 0.7 and 0.4 and 0.7. Anything between 0.7 and 1 we say is a strong linear relationship, strong positive linear relationship. And between -1 and -0.7 is a strong negative relationship. Between 0.7 and 4, we say this is moderate and moderate. And between 0.4 and -0.4, we say this is weak. Okay? So that means that if you do your calculations and you find out that you end up with a R is equal to 1.78, for instance, you know you made a mistake because it can't be more than 1. 1 is a perfect relationship, which means that there is absolutely no error in your estimation. Okay? You know that it can't be 3 variables. Okay, you can only look at 2. They also have to be quantitative. Okay, now you can have a quantitative and a qualitative variable and look at that correlation, but that's not the Pearson correlation coefficient, which is what we're covering in this class. You could use that for the Spearman correlation if the data is ordered, for instance, but they're not actually ratio data. You could also use a chi-squared test to look at the relationship between categories. But again, that's past the scope of this class. So as far as we have to worry about, it can't be greater than 1. You can't be less than -1. It ranges from 0 to 1. 0.7 to 1 is considered high or strong in absolute value. 0.4 to 0.7 is relatively moderate. And between 0 and 0.4 in absolute value, you're looking at something that's pretty much a weak linear relationship. And that's pretty much all that we really need for our correlation coefficient. As we continue on into the class, we'll look at how this could be used to calculate your linear regression. But before we head out here, I just want to give you an example. For instance, now you may not know what an x and y are. You may not know what these are. But if I told you that the correlation between x and y was 0.47, you could tell me that the relationship between the two was a moderate, positive linear relationship. You can tell that just by the value of 0.47. And what positive means is As I go up in x value, I go up in y value. So this is greater than 0. And your slope is going up and to the right. Okay? On the other hand, I told you r of xy is negative 0.82. This we know is a strong, because it's greater than 0.7, negative linear relationship. So what does that mean? If r is less than 0, it means that as we go up in x, we're going down in y. And that means that you're looking at a line that looks like that. You could also think about if you go over to the left in x, you go up in y. Again, you have that same slope. Okay? So that's about it for correlation coefficient for now. And you guys have a great day. Remember, it's the strength of the linear relationship between two quantitative variables. See ya.